There's been a myth that if you water your flowers during the hot midday sun that you'll scorch them. But I'm here to tell you that that's absolutely not true. But this idea that these little tiny droplets of water that get on the foliage are like mini magnifying glasses that are going to burst your plants into flame, hey, it just isn't true. While little water droplets do act as tiny lenses, the varying shapes of each drop prevent light from becoming a concentrated beam. And since light moves more slowly through water than it does through glass, the energy is less intense and the temperature stays low. That being said, watering in the early morning out of direct sunlight is the most ideal time, preventing greater evaporation and allowing your plants more time to drink it all in. Unlike some plants, vegetables cannot respond to a drought by simply going dormant. They just die. You just want to make sure that the plants have consistent water. It's best to water in the early morning. You want to deep soak the soil around the plants. Avoid any water contact on the leaves. You really just want to soak the soil. And be consistent. Don't let the plants dry out and then come in with water and expect to save them. They're not going to produce any fruit if you let them become dry. You also want to eradicate any weeds as soon as they appear. Avoid letting weeds spread as they're going to compete for the water that your vegetables need. Now, to conserve some of that moisture, you can place an organic mulch such as grass clippings or leaves or straw or pine needles around your vegetables to reduce the loss of water to evaporation. And when you apply the mulch, you want to at least put down 1/4 inch. I'd recommend 2 or 3 actually. So you may be asking, how do I keep the soil consistently moist? Well, you can water your vegetables with a soaker hose. You see, this hose has perforations along its length. Place the hose along the rows of plants. Water at a low pressure for about 15 to 20 minutes. Again, early in the morning. Also, take advantage of Mother Nature. If you don't have a rain collection system, install one. Place a rain collection barrel under the gutters to collect rain and use it to water your garden. From the Garden Home, I'm Alan Smith. I'm here at the Garfield Park Conservancy in Chicago. But you know, what's so interesting about this is that this is a wall of plants. They're hiding a building that is sort of a visual eyesore. It doesn't really fit the design, and so they've done this wall of plants that you can actually do in your own home. If you look closely, you'll see there's a series of these units, and each unit has 16 pockets for planting. These extend about 10 inches out from the wall, and there's a drip line that runs across the top here, and here, and here, and here. And there's a slow drip of water and fertilizer that feed these plants. They're packed in with a potting soil, and then there's a filter fabric or landscape fabric that helps hold those into place. This is a south-facing wall, so they get plenty of light. And what they've used here to enliven this wall are these beautiful pink dragonwing begonias and this carex called silver curls. And then over here is this lovely gara, and then even vegetables growing here. If you do this, you're going to want to make sure that you mount this wall on something that's very sturdy and solid, something that can take moisture. Probably a wood wall wouldn't work unless there's a nice space between it so you can get plenty of air circulation. If you don't have a lot of space, gardening on the vertical like this, it's the deal. Give it a try. From the Garden Home, I'm Alan Smith. Everybody has some shade to deal with, right? What do you grow in it? Well, this year I did some experimenting. I thought, hey, why don't we do a container for the shade and use all perennials in it? Perennials you can plant in the garden later, or if you live in a fairly mild part of the country, you can leave them in the containers all winter long. So let's just take a look at what we did and how we started. They were small plants, but it looked pretty good when we first started. Now here in late summer, you can see it's still looking really great. Just take a look at the plants today. You've got the tall and spiky. It's gotten really tall and spiky with the blooms in the way of the hosta. And then here on the side, we've got this beautiful autumn fern with its bronze leaves. And then for textural contrast, we've got the acorus grass here. This one's called oregano. We've got the heuchera that I just cut back the blooms on it. Has almost a maple leaf kind of foliage, and it also echoes the bronze that we see here in the autumn fern. And then to cascade down off the side is our old friend Creeping Jenny with that beautiful chartreuse color. Now because she's been in the shade, the Creeping Jenny isn't quite as chartreuse, nor is the oregano grass if they got half-day sun, and this planting could get half-day sun. All right, now we're in midsummer, right? So the hosta have just about finished. So what I'm gonna do is, even though these blooms are slightly fragrant, I'm just gonna go ahead and take the blooms out, kind of dress this container up, because I've enjoyed the flowers, and now that grooms it and gives it a haircut and a great look as it moves into fall. If you're thinking about containers for shade, think about using perennials. We've always got lots of ideas on our website, so check it out. Now, who wouldn't be proud to have a tomato like this come out of their garden? This tomato is called Red Pride. This is definitely a delicious slicing tomato. You see, the large round fruit of Red Pride is ideal for slicing onto sandwiches or fresh eating. These strong and vigorous plants are ideal for small space gardens, raised beds, and even containers. Red Pride is one of those determinate tomatoes, meaning it grows to a determined height. Typically it grows about 2 to 3 feet, but you can see here we've inched up maybe to about 4 feet tall. Just look at this tomato. Look how juicy and plump it is. If you're looking for a heavy producer, look no further. And the flavor? Fantastic. You know, I really love using unique ingredients in traditional recipes to come up with something exciting and new. And let me tell you, this spicy tomato sauce is no exception. It smells fantastic. You'll start by heating 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil in a large skillet over medium heat. Then cook 1 cup of diced onion in the oil until it's translucent, and add 4 cloves of chopped garlic and continue cooking for about another 2 to 3 minutes. Next, you'll want to add 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, 2 teaspoons of dried basil, or 4 teaspoons of fresh basil if you have it, and 7 or 8 roughly chopped Roma tomatoes in the skillet. Now, you know, Romas are so easy to grow. Just space the plants about 2 feet apart in an area where they get at least 8 hours of sun each day, and you won't believe the volume of tomatoes you can produce. Now, you're going to want to turn the heat down to low and let the sauce just simmer gently, uncovered until it thickens, breaking up the tomatoes with a spoon and stirring occasionally for about 45 minutes. For the final step, add 1/4 cup of fresh, hot and spicy oregano leaves, finely chopped. Hot and spicy oregano is a relatively new variety of oregano that really kicks this sauce up a notch. When you plant it in the garden, it works really well as a ground cover, and it's a perennial in most parts of the United States. Now all you have to do is season your sauce to taste with salt and pepper. Pour it over your favorite pasta and enjoy. This is so good with a little Parmesan cheese and a little extra cracked black pepper. I love this on homemade ravioli. Give it a try. You'll be glad you did. I guess it's the kid in me. About midsummer, I always want to plant, guess what? A few pumpkins. And what I do is I just take an empty raised bed here with good loose soil in it, and I create some slight mounds or hills. Made 1 hill here, 1 hill over here on this corner, one here, and the fourth one is over here. So I've loosened the soil where when these little seeds germinate, the roots can really take off. Now for the easy part, it's just a matter of planting them. So this is one of my favorites. It's a pumpkin called hijinks. And hijinks is really a great tasting pumpkin. Oh yeah, it's the classic Halloween pumpkin or the New England pie pumpkin. But this one has a sweetness to it that if you love to bake pumpkin or use pumpkin in all kinds of, well, delicious things like pumpkin bread or pumpkin pie, it's a great one for it. So in each one of these hills, I really just have enough room for one plant. But I'm going to put 2 of these seeds in each one of the hills. And this is a bush type pumpkin, but it gets really large. It's recommended to plant these about 6 to 8 feet apart, but I don't have room in this bed for that kind of spacing, so I'm going to let them spill over onto the walkway. When I've done this in the past, it's worked out really well. Okay, so I've got about 110 days before I see the first pumpkins, and they'll germinate in about 10 days. And I just covered them with about 1 inch of soil. It's really all you need. I keep the bed weed-free and moist and plant them in full sun like I have today. There's no turning back. These things are going to grow like house of fire. Lee, Inglewood is such a beautiful place.
Well, thank you, Alan. I get a lot of comments from folks telling me how much I must love coming to work, and it's true. It's a lot of challenges with organic farming, but it's a beautiful place to work.
Yeah, it really is. You know, ag tourism has become so popular in the country. People have gotten really connected to this idea of where their food comes from. They want to go and physically see those places. And do you see it growing?
I do, Alan, and we feel like it's important for us to do things to attract people out. So once a month we'll have live music. We'll do a pig roast at some point during the year.
I know this year you all are going to have a corn maze for the first time.
That's right. We're very excited. We've just developed the route to get through, to get lost in.
The maze itself.
That's right, the maze itself.
Ryan, this is quite an exciting day out here at Inglewood.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. I mean, this is the first time a corn maze has been in central Louisiana in years and years, and this is kind of the very beginning of it.
I think that a lot of people are curious about how you actually do a work of art this long. I mean, this is land art.
Right. So I was myself rather unsure about the process, Alan. I imagined something where I'm telling someone to turn left and turn right to cut into the corn, but there's a specific GPS-style tractor that comes out here, has this very beautiful pattern with the Inglewood farm name in it and all that sort of stuff. And
right.
It'll be cut like that.
Sounds like we're firing up and getting ready to plant some seed. How many acres will the corn maze encompass here in this, what was just recently a cow pasture?
What you see right now is about a 10-acre portion.
Okay.
The corn will be a total of 6 acres. And then if you might see across the way, we'll have a pumpkin patch right next to the corn maze
I noticed
as well.
that, yeah. The little pumpkins are up. Well, you know, with a piece of equipment that large, it won't take long to plant this 10 acres.
It'll be a short job, and it'll be, you know, something that's going to be, you know, a great thing for the community. This is our first night. We're expecting really big crowds. It's a really exciting time for us. I know so far we've already had 2,500 students booked for field trips, which for us means that the community is really into this. They're excited about it. They want to get out here, they want to support their farm, and they want to have fun doing it. The process of growing the corn has been simultaneously easy and not easy at the same time. We probably could have totally stopped at an 8-acre corn maze. That probably wouldn't have been too bad of a deal. But we wanted this to be like a place where people could stop and rest and maybe have a bite to eat and talk to people. So, you know, we've got some horseback rides from Hazy Days Ranch out of Forest Hill, Louisiana, just right down the road. We've got some jumpers from Slide Away Inflatables. That's a local company as well. Vendors behind you, all local people, local food. Inglewood Farm is a part of that community. We're not just a farm that sells produce, and we were a farm that gives produce back to the community, gives money back to the community, gives experiences back to the community, and like wants to cultivate that relationship.
Herbs are useful in so many ways. Of course, the first thing we think of is eating them, using them to flavor our foods, but also like to use them in decorative ways. For instance, the centerpiece, well, it's a small window box made of clay that I've planted with a wide range of herbs. It's beautiful, green, fragrant, and most of all, it's easy to make. You see, I started with a terracotta long trough in the shape of a window box. First, I filled the container with a soil that's mixed for container gardens. You see, you want it to drain very well. And then I just simply planted 4 different herbs. I chose sage, Italian flatleaf parsley, rosemary, and some lemon thyme. Now, if you do this, choose any variety of herbs you like. You see, the great thing about using a long, narrow container like this filled with herbs is that it's very versatile. In fact, it's as versatile as the herbs themselves. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and be sure to ring the bell for notifications.